Mr. Gohmert.
Attorney General Barr, we've been hearing about these peaceful protests in major cities around the country, controlled by Democratic mayors and city councils. You've had a lot of experience. Have you ever seen so many people hurt, injured, and killed at peaceful protests in your life?
I haven't seen it, no, not at a peaceful protest. Obviously, as I've said from the beginning, these peaceful protests in many places are being hijacked by a very hardcore of instigators, violent instigators. And they become violent, and their primary direction of violence is to injure police. Police casualties far exceed anything on the civilian side.
Weren't there over 50 police injured in Chicago just in recent days? And now I'm hearing this allegation that this administration is helping spread coronavirus, COVID-19, and yet these are some of the same people that just castigated the president for shutting down travel from the location where the virus was coming from. And now some seem more interested in defending the Chinese Communist Party than they are our own country. But what occurred to me, hearing this allegation about this administration helping spread COVID, would it be a good idea then, perhaps, if that's the big concern here, that maybe the federal government should shut down the protests during this COVID-19 spread so that we can satisfy our colleagues that you're doing more to stop it? Has that ever been a consideration?
No, I've never considered that.
Well, it would apparently stop some of the allegations being thrown here. Now, I know you know history. Going back to 1917, the Bolshevik Revolution, the Mao Revolution, some of these tactics we're seeing are not new. Trying to get, even David Horowitz, I introduced one time as a former socialist, he said, no, I was a full-blown communist. But he has pointed out that he started looking away from the group he was in because he saw they were interested in trying to provoke the police to kill somebody so that they could really create mayhem. You're familiar with that tactic by Marxists, are you not?
Yes.
It is a dangerous time. Well, let me ask you, I know you know that U.S. attorneys are supposed to serve at the pleasure of the president. You know, Bill Clinton fired 93 U.S. attorneys on the same day. Do you know what made U.S. Attorney Berman think that he was the exception who did not serve at the pleasure of the president? What caused him to think he owned that position?
I think part of it was he seems to have had the view that because he was court appointed, and there is a provision in law for court appointment of a U.S. attorney as essentially a placeholder until the administration gets somebody, that he felt he could not be removed by the president because he was court appointed, and that's not correct.
Yeah, and some judges fail to know what my constitutional law professor knew, and that is that all courts federal courts except for one owe their existence and continuation and jurisdiction to the U.S. Congress. Hopefully, Mr. Berman will figure that out at some point. Now, is Bruce Orr still working for the FBI?
He works for the Department of Justice.
Well, we have heard so much information about he's basically being the go-between between the DNC, the Clinton campaign, Fusion GPS, Christopher Steele, the Russian propaganda that were incorporated into his dossier. And I know Kleinsmith, Christopher Wray, indicated he had been given the chance to resign, go get a better job. I'm wondering how long Bruce Orr is going to be staying where he is. It's incredible to me that he's still there.
Well, I can't talk about, individual personnel matters.
Well, thank you for your service. I'm sorry for the abuse you've taken when you're just trying to do your job. Appreciate it very much.